Okay, so I was going to write pseudocode for this, but my goal is to make a checkerboard. And I think I'm going to follow basically Chris's method. So, goal. Checkerboard. Right? So, the goal of today, like the thing I'm trying to teach you guys to use, is I'm going to teach you guys to use Booleans. And I'm also going to try to teach you how to do methods that pass and return variables. Cool? So we are going to get today away from declaring all of our method with voids. We're going to learn to put something else there instead of a void. I know, it's a big step. Everyone cheer. You guys sound bored as F. Alright, so first things first, where did I steal this code from and what does it do? Yes, I stole this out of the for loop API for for loops. Okay, so that's where I got this stuff from. What does this stuff do?
I is counting from 30 to 80 and doing another for loop, which is J, which is counting from 0 to 8, which is making a point at whatever the value of I is and whatever the value of J is.
Cool, and it's incrementing by, both the I and J's are incrementing by 5s, right? So this should make a little grid of dots, right? Okay, let's double check that. Little grid of dots. Tiny dots, tiny grid, right? Okay, so first things first, let's get our, let's get our window to a reasonable size. So, what am I doing? I want a setup method, right? And again, what's the void part of my setup method do? Yeah. So this thing is not going to return any variables because the setup method just makes the frickin' window, right? Okay, so what are reasonable things? Reasonable things. Oops. I want a size. Oh God. Why can't I type today? That's not even close to the right symbol. Ben, can you get the lights in the back? Okay, so I would like a size window,
Background.
something reasonable, 400, 400 say, some kind of a background. What do you want the background to be? White. Cool. What else? Okay, let's turn no stroke. I'm going to leave no stroke on for a second. Let me put it in there and I'll comment it out. So the reason I want it in here, that is not how you spell no stroke. Okay, so if I turn no stroke on, right, then my rectangles wouldn't have any borders. That's probably a good idea for my final product. But until I get to the final product, I want to make sure that I'm actually drawing rectangles, and they'll be easier to see if I have the no stroke still on. If I have strokes still on. How about that? Okay, so I got these couple. This is a void. This is a setup method, right? If I run this, what's it going to do? It's going to get angry because those for loops, oh look, expecting EOF, whatever the hell that means, found 4. That's like, dude, you put some stuff in a method, but not all the stuff's in a method, so I think you better put everything in a method. Okay, so what's my method going to be, and we're doing this the varsity way. What would the usual be? Yeah, we'd stick this in the draw method and it'd loop through 60 times a second. Do I really care if the checkerboard loops through 60 times a second? Hell no. I want the checkerboard to loop through once. Right? So I'm going to make a method that makes a checkerboard. Right? So how do I make a method? Super easy. Yeah, I just made a method called setup, right? So I'm going to make a method called... Yeah, I'm not going to make it called draw because the draw method is default to run through 60 times a second. I'm going to make it called something other than setup or draw. I don't really care what. A good name would be Checkerboard, right? Okay, so have I declared a checkerboard method? Oh, it's wanting another bracket. All this stuff should get scooted over. Why is it yelling at me about this? What's it say down there?
Return type for method is missing.
Oh, it's saying that you didn't tell me what you wanted this thing to return. What do I want the checkerboard to return?
Draw.
I just want it to make a picture of a checkerboard, right? Do I need it to give me anything back? No. I don't really need anything out of this. So I'm going to make this a void method. Okay, so I've got a method called checkerboard that takes nothing and returns nothing. Cool. Now, if I run this, what's it going to do? Do the dots, you think? So it made a white window. It made a white window because I told it to make a white window. Right? The setup method always runs. Yeah, I never called the checkerboard method. You guys see that? So how do I call the checkerboard method? Yeah, you'd think it should be something.checkerboard, but this is a method in the base, not a method in an object. Yeah, we could stick this in the draw method. We could stick it really anywhere. So I'm going to put it in setup because that's the method. That's the other method I've got. And so the way you call a method is the same way you call the background method, or the size method, or the no stroke method, or the point method, right? Like everything we've got's a method. So all you need to do is say checkerboard. And what do I want to pass the checkerboard? Checkerboard doesn't take anything, so I shouldn't give it anything. And now if I push go, we're going to make the window 400 by 400. We're going to make the background white. And then we're going to call the checkerboard method. And then the checkerboard method's going to go through and make our little grid of dots. It's all with me on this? Okay. How's this grid of dots strike you for a... Kinda small. Just a wee small. And also the wrong number of dots by the wrong number of dots, right? Okay, so how am I going to make it the right size? Where do I want it to start? Okay, so I'm starting my integer I at 0. Where do I want my integer I to end? 8. Okay. So I think let's do the method where we go through on one axis and then move down in the next one and go through and move down or over. I don't know which way this one's working. We'll figure it out in a bit. So if we do I starts at 0 and goes to 8. Do you want to increment by 1? Okay, so now if I run this, oh, what's it annoyed by? Why can't I equal plus plus? Yeah. If you wanted I equals I plus 1, right? That would be fine. Yep. Crap. Oh, that's a good idea. If I go to the width, right? Okay, and then how many steps do I want on the way to the width?
How many boxes do we want?
Yeah, you could increment by width over 8. So I equals I plus width over 8. Let's try that. Yes! Victory is ours. That's looking kind of right. Okay. What do I want the other one to change to? Okay, so I want to start at 0 still. I want to go up to the height. Oops. Height. And I want it to go up by, so j equals j plus height over 8. At this point, it would really pay to check whether the i's are controlling the x things and whether the j's are controlling the y things. You guys see that? Because I just stuck here, right, in declaring this stuff, I just stuck i's with the width. And here I just stuck i's with the height. J's with the height, rather. So in here, I should add a comment to myself saying I is for x, j is for y. You guys with me on that? And that's basically just to remind myself or to see if I have problems debugging. When you do nested for loops like this, it's really always worth writing down what you're intending to do so that when it does it backwards or something, you can notice like, oh, whoops, that was supposed to be the other variable. Okay, so if I run this, I should get dots. Wow, that is impossible to see, but trust me, there are dots. Okay, that seems like a good idea. Oh. The rectangle expects more stuff. Wait, what?
It needs a position and then a height and a width. Right? A width and a height. Yeah, and J is the position. You're right, but I'm saying that we can just call the width and the height width divided by 2 and height divided by 2. That's going to be very big boxes. Right, but instead of divided by 2, how about we divide it by 2?
No, I like height over 2 and width over 2. That'll be funny.
Isn't that reasonable?
Yeah, so why is that reasonable still? You guys see that? Story's not wrong about this working. It's just not gonna be very convenient. I'm really with the over 8 was the right thing to put in there. But why is over 2 working? Yeah, they're just overlapping. It's drawing the new ones over the top of the old ones.
The thing is, when you try and fill them in.
Yeah, when I try and fill them in, that might cause me problems. So I'm going to go switch them to over 8s. But it's important to remember that processing lets you draw over the top of stuff, whether you intend to or not. Right? So now if I hit go, I should get the same picture, right? Cool. All right. What else do I want in here?
You need an if statement that says if I is...
Oh, yeah, that's going to be... So, what I need is some kind of way to do the invert fill part of my checkerboard, right? Like, for each part of the checkerboard, you need to go through and flip it between being black and being white, right? Which one does it start as? Checkerboard? I don't know. You just gotta go look on the internet, right? The top left square in a checkerboard is black. Pretty sure it's black. Is it white?
Well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I think for most standard orientations, it's black. So I'm going to set fill. Which one's black? 0? Okay, so now if I run this, what's it going to do? Yeah, it's going to turn the window black, right? Because there's not going to be any white left. Okay, cool. That did not particularly work. So I needed some kind of a variable to keep track of whether we're looking at white or black, right? That's only 2 states. You guys with me on the, like, white or black is only 2 states? So this is a good case for learning a Boolean. So a Boolean only has 2 states. It's either true or it's false, right? And that's all the variable type is. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to declare a Boolean. So I'm going to make a Boolean B to keep track of color. So that's going to be Boolean B equals something. Yeah, sure. Started as either true or false, but it's got to be one or the other. Yes, sure I want to call it B. What do you want to call it? Bool? Yeah. Another thing you could call it is you could call it... No. But another reasonable choice to call it would be color check or black-white or something of that form. I'm going to just call it B because I'm lazy, and this program's going to be small. If the program was going to be big, it would be a really crappy choice to call your Boolean B. Yeah, because there's a million B's in your program. So if we really wanted to do a good job, we would... Oh, what the hell, let's do a good job. I'm going to call my Boolean black-white. What? That's not confusing. I don't care. One or the other. Okay, so I have my Boolean variable black-white, and what I would like to do is something like if what? Okay, so an if command takes an argument, right? And the argument I want to ask is black-white equals true? Right? Why is it yelling at me about that? No, you be quiet. Why is it yelling at me about this? What am I supposed to be asking in there? Yeah, I'm supposed to be asking, is black-white true? And what's this doing? That's trying to set black-white true. Right? I want to ask, is black-white true? And the way you ask is something is you need the double equals. So if the black-white variable is true, then I want to set the fill to 0. Okay, you can do that. I'm going to do else, just because I'm lazy. A good rule of thought for ifs is if you want it to do something in any case at all, put an if and an else. If you want to do it, if you want to case out specific things, you want if, else if, and then an else. Like a good coding practice is always to have the else's there if you put in ifs, even if they're empty. So that later you can, like as you're debugging, you can go through and put something into that else statement to check and see if you're getting into that case at all. You guys see that? Like that else is the debug, like, whoops, my black-white is not only not true, it's also set equal to 17 because I'm an idiot and I assigned the wrong variable type. You guys see that? Like it does happen that you can accidentally overwrite variable types or screw around with it somehow. These are especially true especially good if you're doing arithmetic with integer variable types, because if you divide between integers and floats, sometimes you can end up with weirdness. Okay. So what do I want the else to be? Fill 255. Okay. Now, if I run this, what's it going to do? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, black white's always true, right? You guys see that? Okay, so how do I make black white false? Okay. Like this? So hang on, I just want to demonstrate what this is going to do, right? So this is going to run through, and it's going to say, okay, so we're going to go for I is 0, and then we're going to go for j is 0, and then we're going to test is black white true, and the first time we go in there, black white's going to be true because I initialized it as true. So we'll set the fill to black and draw a rectangle, and then we're going to set black white to false, and then we're going to run through this same thing for I is 0 and j is 1 now. Well, j is the width over 8, actually. Right? And then we're going to say, okay, we're going to set the fill to white, and then we're just going to run through over and over again, and we're never going to change black white again. So we're going to get one black rectangle in the upper left, and then all white rectangles. Right? Like, yes, it did what I thought it was supposed to do, but it didn't do the thing I wanted it to do. So, this?
You can put the black white equals false into an if statement. It says if,
Okay.
if black white equals true, then black white equals false. Why don't we just put that inside of that?
Oh yeah, that's a good call. We've got that same if statement up here anyway, right? So like I could just put that in here.
Have to put the rectangle in there, I think. Draw a rectangle.
Let's try it. Let's try just putting it in there for kicks. So you want to put that in here for the true case, and then in here, what do you want to do? Right, so if it's true, then you set the fill and flip it, and if it's otherwise, you just set it equal to true and set the fill to white. Oh yeah, and then you definitely want to turn this one off, right? Or delete it. Oh, actually, that's not all bad, because I forgot a piece of pseudocode. You guys remember in the pseudocode for this? So we were supposed to set the fill to white, draw the square in the upper left. Oh, I set this to black. Draw the square in the upper left. I'm doing that. I'm inverting the fill, and then I'm drawing another square, right? I'm not going across like this says. Why am I not going across? No, check this out. Which thing's happening on the outside? Right, my eyes, the X thing's happening on the outside. So it's setting an X, and then it's going in and doing the whole height for loop. Right, so it's actually doing these. Draw the upper left, draw the one below it, draw the one below that, draw the one below that. And then it's moving up and right a row and going down from there. Yeah, so if I was following my pseudocode, I really should switch these two for loops, right? So we could actually do that. Okay, and now what do I expect this to do? Yeah, I still expect this to not work. It's just going the other way now. So, if I look at my pseudocode again, and this is why you write pseudocode, we're doing all of these steps to here right. You guys see that? Except that one. Because I didn't invert the fill at the end of the row. Right, so if I go back and look at my picture here, this square is white, and then the next square it draws is this one down here. What's up, guys?
I got the word. No clue how.
Okay, so what I need to do is have one more of these switches, and I need to switch when it gets to the end of a row. So where's it getting to the end of a row? Yeah, how about every time it gets out of that inside for loop? You guys see that? Right, the inside for loop goes across, and then the next square is going to be the one where it goes outside of that loop into the bigger loop and then runs that inside again. So right here is where it flips at the end. So how do I flip it at the end of the row again? Oh god. I just need to flip the black-white variable, right? I don't actually need to flip the... So, I need one of these, like... And this is getting really cumbersome to write. This, like, if statement. You guys want a shortcut? Yeah, we could make a method. I'm going to make a method in a second. But I'm going to show you the the kind of ugly little shortcut first. So I want to set black-white equals, well, I just want it to be opposite, right? So I'm going to set black-white equals not black-white. Okay, so the BAM there, the exclamation point, what that thing does when you attach it to a Boolean variable is it flips it. It says the opposite of this. You guys see that? So I could do that up here too, right? And right here. So I could get rid of these guys out of that if statement and just put them right here next to my rectangle as black-white equals not black-white. Now if I go, huzzah! Victory! This is not the only way to do this. You could do this a bunch of different ways. Then what else did I want to fiddle with here? I think I also wanted to turn no stroke off. Or no stroke on, rather. Cool. Checkerboard. Sweet. Is it scalable? Is it dynamic? If I change this to 800, 800, is it still going to draw a checkerboard? It should. Cool. That looks like it's still drawing a checkerboard. Cool. Questions? Sure. Okay, so the kick of Booleans. They're either true or false. They have to be initialized with the phrase, with one of the phrases, true or false. The advantage is that you can't accidentally set them to 7. Right? Like if you use an integer variable type to keep track of this, one, it takes more memory, which matters if you're coding on something really small. And 2, it can accidentally be set equal to 7, and then if you have if black-white equals 1, and if black-white equals 0, do stuff. Setting it equal to 7 someplace could happen, and then it wouldn't execute either of your if statements, and you would be left wondering what the F is up with this thing. You guys cool with this? Mostly these are a consideration due to file size, or processing power.
Here's how it works. If height and width are indivisible by the number you're dividing it by, for some reason it totally works. What happened is we're creating an additional, and so you're getting an odd amount of squares. So like I had like a remainder at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Remainder at the end.
Yeah.
That made everything crazy.
Yeah, so there are a couple different ways to do this with remainders, too. So you could do this whole thing with remainders if you wanted to. You could make an integer value to keep your fill, that 0 and 255, and then add 255 mod 255, or add, yeah, you could do something like that. 254 mod 255 maybe, or mod by 256, whatever. Like, you could figure out a way to do this with modulo if you wanted. Cool. Awesome. Questions, things on Booleans?